All right, we would invite all who would care to join us standing with a recitation of the Lord's Prayer, followed by a moment of silence. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
It's now 7:07. Shelby City Council meeting is called to order. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May be seated. Roll call, please, Mr. Crum.
Mr. Robb. Mr. Roberts? Here. Mr. Cutlip? Mr. Martin?
Here.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Here. For the record, Mr. Robb is out of the country and Mr. Cutlip is out of the state for this evening. That's why they cannot be here this evening. I will now entertain with a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal from May 6, 2024.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin for dispensing of the reading of the journal from May 6, 2024. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts? Yay. Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay. That motion passes. This evening, we are going to be entertaining a resolution declaring Shelby, Ohio as a Purple Heart City. That will involve a ceremony in the council chambers, a recess, and then a ceremony outside. And we have many, many special guests here this evening. Hope they'll all be recognized during those ceremony times. But before we have the reading of the resolution declaring Shelby, Ohio a Purple Heart City, it is my distinct pleasure. I've met these gentlemen and their wives before the ceremony, and I'd like to introduce this evening Mr. Mike Morris, Ohio Adjutant with Chapter 1974, Fort Finley, of the Military Order of the Purple Heart. So, Mr. Morris, if you would care to come and begin making your ceremonies. This is all in preparation for the reading of Resolution number 19, 2024 on your agenda. And by the way, they may not tell you, or you may, but all three of these gentlemen are highly regarded Purple Heart recipients themselves. So thank you.
Mr. Mayor, council members, veterans, and Shelby residents, we wish to thank you for the opportunity to establish Shelby, Ohio as a Purple Heart City, which will include you in the National Purple Heart Trail. I am Mike Morris. I'm the adjutant of the Finley branch of Chapter 1974. To my left is Dennis Hanneman. He is the state commander of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, and he's also the commander of Chapter 1974. To my right is Ron Clark. He's the state inspector of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, and he's the chaplain of Chapter 1974. The two shy ones up there, the one on the right is the president of the auxiliary for 1974, and the one on the left, her name is Darlene Hanneman, and the other one on the left is my wife, Mary Ann Morris, a member of the auxiliary. And at this time, some of you have papers for the Star Spangled Banner if you need refreshed, and Darlene will lead us in singing them.
Please stand. Oh, banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
You see it?
A little bit of history on the Purple Heart. It was first available, well, it was made available to the soldiers, but it started out as a Medal of Merit by Washington. And then in '32 it became a Purple Heart, but it was recommissioned in '32. And at '42 it became available to soldiers, which meant Army. They changed the rules, made it available to all services, and authorizing it only for wounds received. So I always tell everybody I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's how I got mine. Some of us did, some of us didn't. It wasn't a matter of heroism, we were just there, doing our job. But for right now, if there are any Purple Heart recipients in the audience or behind me that would like to stand up and be recognized, I'd appreciate it. And now if there are any veterans of all branches, I want you to stand and be recognized also.
Thank you, Mr. Morris, and we'll have more to say in our announcements. So with that, I will entertain a motion for the passage of resolution number 19, 2024, declaring Shelby, Ohio as a Purple Heart City.
Mayor, it's with honor that I move that resolution number 19, 2024 be passed.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Martin and a second by Mr. McLaughlin for the passage of resolution number 19, 2024. Discussion? Mr. McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Could we have the clerk of courts read the resolution into the record, please?
Certainly. Resolution number 19, 2024. Sponsors, council members Cutler, Martin, McLaughlin, Roberts, and Robb. Declaring Shelby, Ohio as a Purple Heart City. Whereas the city of Shelby, Ohio and our entire community have a great admiration and the utmost gratitude for all the men and women who have and are selflessly serving their country and this community in the armed forces. And whereas the Purple Heart is the oldest military decoration given to those who are injured or killed protecting the United States in combat, being first awarded by General George Washington in 1782. And whereas the mission of the Military Order of the Purple Heart is to foster an environment of goodwill among combat wounded veterans and their families, promote patriotism, support legislative initiatives, and most importantly, to make certain we never forget. And whereas the city of Shelby, Ohio appreciates the sacrifices of our Purple Heart recipients made in defending our freedoms and believe it is important that we acknowledge them for their courage and show them the honor and support they have earned. And whereas the city of Shelby, Ohio will now be on the Purple Heart Trail that originates in Mount Vernon, Virginia and transverses the United States to California. And whereas the city of Shelby, Ohio most reverently acknowledges and welcomes this profound honor. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Shelby, Ohio, a majority elected thereto concurring. Section 1, that the Council express its sincere thanks and appreciation to veterans awarded the Purple Heart for their service and sacrifice to the country. Section 2, that the Clerk of Council present to the representative of the Purple Heart Trail an authenticated copy of this resolution. Section 3, that the Clerk of Council cause this resolution to be published once in a newspaper of general circulation published within the city limits. Section 4, that all meetings and hearings concerning the adoption of this resolution have been in compliance with the codified ordinances 220.01, Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22, and the Charter of the City of Shelby, Ohio. Section 5, that this resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage, approval by the mayor, and the earliest period allowed by law.
Thank you. Mr. McLaughlin.
Mr. Mayor, a little background on how we got here. During the fall of last year, former Shelby Mayor Garland Gates brought it to the City Council's attention that during his recent travels, he became aware of the Purple Heart Trail. Since he was nearing the end of his term and retiring soon from service to the community, he asked me to get Shelby added to the Purple Heart Trail. Mr. Gates gave me his research and contacts to call for that point. Not too long later, in December, after hearing of our intent with our Purple Heart project, Christina Yetzer-Drain in the audience and Cindy Jones, both affiliated with Wreaths Across America, contacted me to let me know that they were working on the Wreaths project and were doing research to get a list of folks that had passed away that had earned the Purple Heart. By looking at the tombstones at the local cemeteries, they gave me a list of approximately 70 locals that they had identified. Not too long after that, Rich Eichinger, a Shelby local, decided he was going to do a little research by looking through the Shelby Daily Globe and a few other sites and some historical microfilm that's now online. At this point, Mr. Eichinger has identified over 200 names, and the list I passed them out. Someone that had been on the list, someone that had been killed or wounded in action back to the Civil War. Additionally, since our information comes from the Daily Globe, we've included folks not just that resided within our city limits, yet folks that are our local area as well, such as Tyro, Shiloh, Plymouth, etc. If I've left anyone, if me and Rich or anyone have left anyone off that list that was a Purple Heart recipient, please let us know so we can add them to the list. I'd like to thank everyone that's had a part in making this happen and that's here with us tonight. Our Purple Heart recipients, our state delegation of the Purple Heart chapter, the Shelby City Council, the American Legion's John Terry, Blaine Barker, and our American Legion Honor Guard, Christina Drain and Cindy Jones with Wreaths Across America, Rich Eichinger, Dawson Gove, who's playing taps for us tonight, Brian Crum and the local scouts, Mayor Garland Gates for pushing this project. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman McLaughlin. And again, thank you for the work that you put into this. It seems like we've been talking about this for months, and it's great to see it come to fruition this evening. Are there any other comments from council? Not, I will call for the vote on the resolution.
Mr. Roberts? Yay. Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
Resolution number 19, 2024 proudly passes. And with that, I will be signing a copy of the resolution that has been signed by the other parties. I'll be giving this to Mr. Morris. And then just after our recess, I would ask if council and other members would come, and gentlemen, if you'll join us, we'll get a picture taken with this sign. I think inside, I think it'd be nicer in here, good lighting, if you'll join us here. And then after that picture has been taken, then we'll all go out to the flagpole, and we have a nice ceremony planned out there, okay? So I will be signing this piece of legislation proudly. And Mr. Morris, if you want to come forward, sir. And it is my distinct pleasure to present this resolution to you, all in the process of Shelby being recognized and us being memorialized as a Purple Heart City. Very pleased to do that. It's one of the highest honors we can have, become a part of this Purple Heart Trail all across America. So thank you, and gentlemen, thank you all for coming. So I just think I'm a pleasure to have you. So that would take that a moment.
We're really honored to have you on the trail. Yeah, I'm sure, and I'm not acquainted with it, but there's got to be one on the internet that we can follow.
Yes, yes. I think I've seen a few of those little things you've tried. So,
All right.
Thank you, sir. So if you all gather up here, we'll get a picture taken, and you all can begin to gather outside, unless you want to be here to take a picture. This is, before you go, yeah, you might want to see it. It's a beautiful, these are all across the United States of America. Take a bunch of, put the first time pictures. So gentlemen, if you will come around here, and, just, oh yeah, recess. Mr. Martin.
Move that council recess for the purpose of.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Martin, a second by Mr. McLaughlin for recess discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts? Yeah. Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
Okay, council recess at 7:23. All right, now let's all gather up here. Thank you.
How's that?
Yeah, that's good. That's kind of good. Everybody around here? Isn't that a beautiful sign?
We gotta get closer together. Okay. There we go. Yeah, squeeze her in. We all gained weight since being
Say purple. Purple. I don't know if that, my lips feel for a while. It's cheese. Oh, you need another one, David? Okay, let's get one for David, all right.
That's a nice sign you gave. It is. I think that's one of the best.
Oh, she wants to get one real quick.
Hey, you get it, Rod? You go that way? Michael, do you need one for your angle? We'll look at you.
All right.
John? Very good. Yeah, that is,
Don't dare leave him down.
no, that's not a good look. That would not be a good look. Here's the one.
More the merrier. So don't delete, but if you don't do it now, you don't get it.
I know, it's all gone.
Finally, I walked over to my sister's question.
I know, when you're sitting there and keep clock watching, and you're like, oh man.
Here we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Oh, very nice.
You could have brought the whole team.
Is it really? Yeah. Change right in there.
Sometimes.
No, T-ball's different than softball. Yeah. We don't have outs, we just bat around 3 times. I've unfortunately, but also unfortunately, I have.
Did that hurt?
I believe me, I know
That was very good. Really, wow. Well, good to see you.
that. I got one sit next to it.
And I nearly passed out. Like I had to go down on one knee because I couldn't see anything. So they had to have somebody come up and replace the water and pass out my water.
Yeah, it's hydration. It was jokes. Come on.
That's fun.
Man, rough crowd tonight.
Especially since we're still dealing with it.
Very good, right?
Are we?
Going off the bat.
Same things all
Same thing as always.
Well, we made a question on it, so.
Yeah, that's fine.
Trying to make jokes.
It was fine.
I didn't really mean it by it.
The word try.
We had talked about it.
I've been there.
It's getting real in here.
I mean, it was a joke, it just wasn't like.
I'll be honest, I was waiting for the purple letter day to come out.
Oh, instead of red letter.
That's what I thought.
Red and blue, yeah, red, white, and blue.
I thought you said.
All right. Council will come out of recess at 7:38. We will continue with our agenda. We come to public comment. And this evening we have with us from the Board of Elections, Matt Finfield and James Zimmerman and Bill Freitag to make some comment to the council, I think, in regard to any potential charter amendments that may be on the horizon. So however you all want to handle this. Oh, you're going to sing a trio, that's good.
You get all of us.
It'll be over quick if that's okay. Most of you know, but for those of you who don't, I'm Bill Freitag. I'm currently the chairman of the Board of Elections for Richland County. Formerly served as council at large and mayor several years ago. In 2014, 2014, the General Assembly changed the elections code to provide for a 90-day filing deadline period. And that really is in effect, I believe, across the state of Ohio, except for here, because of your charter, still has a 75-day filing deadline. So Matt and Jane are going to give the ins and outs of why we would like to see it changed to match the ORC and the 90-day filing deadline. And then we'll just take whatever questions you might have.
All right. Thank you guys for having us. Mr. Geis, thanks for making this happen and having us here at council tonight. A few things, just what we do and why the 90 days is important to us. Number one, when that deadline passes, the first thing we do obviously is verify all the petitions, verify the signatures. The board has to meet and certify any petition. So just because the deadline's at 75 days for Shelby doesn't mean we start the ballot layout at the 75th day. As the board has to meet, we have some work that we have to do to verify signatures and the petitions. Once that happens and the board certifies candidates, then we start with 8 to 10 bipartisan teams that proof all the ballots. And when I say all the ballots, I mean the machines, paper ballots, and the audio. Each one's a different proofing process because it's not all entered as a one. Just because you proof the machines doesn't mean your paper ballots are correct. So it does take quite a bit of time, and that's why we have 8 to 10 teams that go through that process. After that, And if a change is to be made, we start that process all over. So if we change something with the paper ballot, we go back and start over with the proofing of the paper ballots. And then the LNA machines, to LNA the machines, it takes about 5 to 8 days. And then we also LNA paper ballots. So we'll print paper ballots, we'll go, depending on how many positions there are, we'll do, the first position, second position, third position, run those through the scanner, make sure those are tabulated as well. The military UACAVA voting, that starts 46 days prior to the election. So we have less than 30 days from that deadline to have ballots ready. And that's not working days, that's calendar days. So we have to have paper ballots ready, and we have to have early voting machines ready in case someone in the military comes in and wants to vote in that time period. So that's what the UACAVA is. It's anyone in the military overseas, or if their families are with them overseas, they can request a ballot up to 46 days. So they have a little more time, because we know the mail just to come within the county takes a while sometimes, much less going overseas to our military folks. So like, and then our early voting starts 29 days prior. So we like to have all our testing done with all the machines. We usually test about 420 machines every election. To test a machine takes about 45 minutes from the start to the end. That's setting it up, that's testing it, making sure that the votes are coming out correctly in the tabulation end. So that, to us, that's why it's important. Also, for Shelby, candidates have a 75-day filing deadline. However, issues are 90 days. So we're just asking that to be consistent, and with the rest of the county to match, so we can get started in that earlier time frame.
And going off of what Matt said, even though we have 83 precincts in our county, we actually have 139 different ballot styles. So if you times that into a primary, there's 3 ballots per ballot style. So that's what we're up against when we're doing ballot layout. The other thing is everything else, section 53 is what your charter is that deals with the 75 days. Everything else pertaining to processing a petition goes by revised code. How we verify it, rotation of the names, everything's prescribed by revised code. The only thing different is that 75-day.
Is there questions from council? Yes.
How close have you come to the deadlines for Shelby elections?
For the 46 days?
It has become close because we formally get the ballot layout, the finalized from the state, and they have been known to change it also. So that throws the ballot layout into chaos again. So if we can get everybody in by 90, we have that little cushion, of even that 15 days, that helps us immensely with getting those ballots ready.
Yeah, that's great. That answered the question. How close have you been on average to actually running up against that 46 days?
Well, let's see, when did they throw us the curveball the last time? It was 22, where we had a third of our machines LN8, and we had to start over from day one again. So it is a very intensive process behind the scenes before we ever send a ballot out. Plus, every time, we also have to have the chairs of the party approve the ballots. Once we have the ballot proofs ready, we send notices to them or any ballot issue committees. They have the right to come and review the ballot, and if we have to make corrections, they would have to submit it to us and start over.
Which party approves our ballots, because we're nonpartisan?
We send it out, there's a public notice of the ballot proofs are ready, and the ballots are always in our office.
And that's the other thing, we can't even finalize, with the filing deadline, we can't finalize the rest of the county, because once we have to wait on that deadline. It's not like we finalize Mansfield because they're the 90-day. It's a county as a whole with the system that we have.
Just adding another candidate can throw a whole ballot out of whack, because of the spacing and the timing marks on the ballot. That's why if we were able to do it all at once, it helps immensely. And I know even like when you do submit issues, like I send them over, Brian gets them and reviews them and presents them, make sure the language is okay, before we ever make sure that it's entered onto the ballot itself.
I'll vouch for what they're saying. It's a very intense process.
Steve's worked with us and helped us out for quite a few years, behind the scenes with testing, training poll workers, that type of thing. So it is pretty labor intensive, and thank goodness for the part-time help.
Any other questions?
Well, thank you,
Thank you.
council, mayor.
Thank you, we appreciate
Mr.
it.
Geis, appreciate it.
If you have any more questions, we know where to go.
Absolutely.
Bill?
There you go, nice job. All right. Any other public comment for council this evening? Hearing none, we'll move forward then to reports from standing and special committees. Financing and Personnel Committee met, Councilman Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. There were only a couple personnel matters. I apologize. My notes did not make it in with me as I ran in from the vehicle. So there were only a couple personnel matters. Can be addressed to the mayor's report, I'm sure, if they're still relevant. Everyone has the financial statements in front of you. I'll just touch really briefly on the income tax. We are 12.2% over the month by month, and the overall year-to-date collections were up 11.56%. So we are cautiously optimistic, I guess would be in regards to that. The other thing of note, if we'll go to the cash investment reconciliation, U.S. Bank is going to be closing their offices in July, and we are planning on moving a majority, if not all, of those over to Park National Bank. And we were able to go over the different options, different banks, different things, and the committee agreed with the finance director on their move there. Really, it's just a matter of we're still watching a couple of major funds, especially water and sewer. We'll continue to do so. But other than that, Mayor, that is the summation of my report.
Thank you. Someone make a motion?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I move that the combined financial statement and cash investment reconciliation statement, both dated April 30, 2024, be received, placed on file, and posted to the city website.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Martin, second by Mr. Roberts, that the combined financial statement and the cash investment reconciliation statement, both dated April 30, 2024, be received, placed on file, and posted to the city website. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts? Yay. Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
That motion passes. Thank you, Councilman Martin. I'll move to Utility Street Committee, Councilman McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mayor. The Utility and Streets Committee met May 17th. I've got 3 items to brief. The first one, it is National Public Works Week, the 19th to the 24th of May. Public Works are a governmental agency or private company supporting public infrastructure or services such as water, wastewater, electric, utility building, sanitation, natural gas, communications, and transportation. Shelby's public work network includes the water treatment, wastewater treatment, electric, and utility building. Altogether, they have 35 utility employees. with an annual operating budget of approximately $17 million. We have 8 private networks supporting Shelby Public Utilities. On the natural gas side, we have Columbia Gas Communications, we have Brightspeed, Everstream, Omni Fiber, and Spectrum. Sanitation, we have Flash's Trash, Mons, and Rumpke. Focusing a little bit on the water treatment plant, we have 5 licensed operators. The treatment facility operates 24 hours a day and 365 days a year. Operators are on shift at all times there. The State of Ohio EPA Division of Drinking and Groundwaters governs the operating permit. Reservoir numbers 2 and 3 store the source water. The water plant treats the source water, and they treat approximately 1.6 million gallons of drinking water per day. Moving to the wastewater treatment plant, 4 licensed operators. The treatment facility operates 24 hours, 365 days a year. An operator must be at the facility every day. However, the SCADA system monitors the system during off hours. So it's manned 8 hours a day, and then SCADA monitors the other 16 hours a day. The State of Ohio EPA Division of Surface Waters governs the operating permit, and the facility treats 2.2 million gallons of wastewater per day approximately. As far as the service department, we have 14 licensed crew members. They normally work a schedule of 40 hours a week, on call after normal work hours, responsible for water and wastewater infrastructure and the maintenance of roadways. So we have 70 miles of streets, 20 miles of alleys, 62 miles of water lines, 56 miles of sanitary sewer lines, 54 miles of storm sewers, for approximately 262 miles of total infrastructure. The Division of Electric, Distribution, and Generation has 7 crew members. Normal work schedule is 40 hours a week, on call after normal hours. The linemen are responsible for the city's electric distribution and transmission systems and generation. There are over 70 miles of combined electric distribution and transmission lines. They operate and maintain the Northside Substation, George Hawk Substation, and the Light Power Plant switchgear. Crews operate and maintain the diesel generators throughout town also. So with that, we have 262 plus 70 for 332 miles of infrastructure. Utilities office has 3 billing clerks responsible for billing of 5,200 electric customers, 4,200 water customers, and 3,900 sewer customers. On a special note, a loss of any one of these 3 critical utilities would interrupt the livability and workability of a community. So our appreciation goes out to the Shelby's public workers. Second item I'd like to talk about is the AMP Contracted Resources Realignment Opportunity. For the AMP project power sales contracts, members are given the opportunity to realign their contract resource portfolio. Quarter 1 of 2024, realignment notification allowed members to solicit their request to the Energy Authority, a neutral third-party entity facilitating the realignment. The assignment opportunity was for AMP's Greenup, Meldal, or AFEC contracted resources. Shelby submitted Greenup and Meldal's hydro for assignment. Shelby's participation in the AMP contracted resources, Greenup hydro plant 366 kilowatts, and Meldal hydro is 559 kilowatts. Two AMP member communities were interested in Shelby's Greenup and Meldal hydro resources. The discussion between Shelby and one of the interested communities has matured into a scheduled forthcoming discussion with AMP legal counsel on the proper direction for the assignment of the contracted resources. Shelby would assign the ownership share of the respective hydro resources to the interested community. The reason for the interest is assigning the resources, reduces outstanding debt to $4.5 million, and allows flexibility with replacing the hydropower with less expensive power. And then finally, I just want to say in future discussions, we're going to be looking at utility charges for food vendors. That is all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman McLaughlin. Are there any comments or questions for Mr. McLaughlin in regard to his report? I will say that that was one of the most impressive committee reports that Mr. Ensman has produced, and it is mind-boggling to see how many miles of, let me say, infrastructure we take care of every week here. And for our friends in the media, there's a pretty long, a paragraph from Mr. Ensman that kind of says all of it, our gratitude to all of our workers in public works in the city of Shelby. Mentioned the car show that will be coming up on the 22nd of June. It'll take place in the large parking lot behind City Hall, and there'll be more information out about that. All right, so thank you very much, Councilman McLaughlin. Move forward then to a report of the mayor. Just real briefly before I get into the confirmation. Personnel, we did have 2 resignations at our line department, referred to as our electric and telecommunication department. 2 resignations, Mr. Luke Sherman and Mr. Jeff Yates. And then we did have a hiring of Mr. David Gerhardt, wastewater treatment plant operator trainee. So those are the personnel issues referred to, Mr. Martin. And really, I think it's about all. I know we've had a long evening so far. We're just trying to keep moving here. I will entertain a motion to confirm the appointment of Marissa Miller.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Martin, a second by Mr. McLaughlin to confirm the appointment of Marissa Miller to the Health Department Advisory Board. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts.
Yay.
Mr. Martin.
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin.
Yay.
A motion to confirm passes. Thank you. Are there any comments or questions for me? If not, we'll move our way to Mr. Crum, Director of Finance.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Martin covered most of the excitement already, the financials. No lack thereof, I guess. It's just another day in the neighborhood. We have been finishing up the documents needed to get to the subcontractor for our gap conversion, which is due the end of the month, and which is a big part of the audit as far as them preparing their part of the audit. So that is on track to be submitted to the state timely. Deputy Director Cutler has also she's already started the process of opening accounts with Park National, ordering checks and that sort of thing. So that is well underway as well. I don't really have anything else to say, sir.
All right. Are there any comments or questions for Mr. Cromer in regard to his report? Thank you, sir. I did forget to mention, we did have a cleanup days, 16, 17, 18. I had it written down right here. And things went well this year, and had good results, and a lot of folks thanking the health department for the opportunity to clean up their properties. So thanks to everyone who's involved in that, and I'm sure we'll have a full report from the health department of how much we collected and tires collected and so forth to try to get them off of properties and in the proper place already. So, all right, Mr. Roberts.
We're going to try to compile this. There are still piles around town that haven't been picked up yet. And you and I have messaged back and forth about some of those, but
Yes.
probably not just in my travels, but other places too.
We've been receiving phone calls at the health department, and we are indeed compiling a list and giving those over to Mr. Ensman, and there'll be a final sweep. So thank you for that. All right. Mr. Iceberg, Law Director.
No report, Mayor.
All right. All right, thank you, Mr. Iceberg. Mr. Geis, our project coordinator.
Thank you, Mayor. Just real quick, we will be opening up bids on our Shelby Avenue water line project this Friday.
Good. Very good. Any new business to be brought before council? All right. Any unfinished business? For so many weeks, we have our trade
Sorry.
I will.
Let's move into legislation.
Ordinance number 8, 2024, amending section 260.10, vacations of chapter 260, employees generally, of the codified ordinances of the city of Shelby.
Will the ordinance be given its second reading?
We have a motion by Mr. Martin and a second by Mr. Roberts for the second reading of ordinance number 8, 2024. Discussion. Mr. Martin.
I was amiss. We did discuss this during our committee meeting. So all coming back to me now, so Celine Dion's on. Anyways, I believe we had an amendment. Do you have that there?
Yes.
This makes great radio.
Others are deleted.
That's right. All right. Mayor, I'd like to, by unanimous consent, in subparagraph G, remove a minimum of 5, and in its place, we put it completed full-time. So it would read, new hire employees with completed full-time years of prior, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, thank you. So by unanimous consent, it's being requested that we delete in, under the section 1 there, G, parentheses G, remove and delete a minimum of 5 and replace that with these 3 words, completed full-time. Then that would define years and so on. Thank you. This is kind of mirroring some language of a union contract, and Ms. Cutler has some input on this. She feels this will be a good move in this regard. Mr. Martin.
And Mayor, if I may, with that language, I initially brought up possibly putting like with approval of council, but with that language, I think it's pretty cut and dry. There's not much discretion that would need to have prior approval. So it's, I believe, a good compromise as well.
Thank you. Are there any objections to that amendment by unanimous consent? If not, then we so amended, completed full-time. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts.
Yay.
Mr. Martin.
Yay.
Mr. Long.
Yay.
Ordinance number 8, 2024 passes. Passes its second reading.
Resolution number 20, 2024. Authorizing the proper city official to enter into a partnership agreement with the Richland County Commissioners for the PY 2024 Community Housing Impact Preservation CHIP Program, and authorizing the Ohio Regional Development Corporation to submit application to the PY 2024 CHIP on behalf of the city of Shelby.
The resolution be taken up and passed.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin for the passage of Resolution 20, 2024. Discussion. Mr. Geis.
First, I want to apologize for not putting in the mayor as director of public services as a proper city official. That was a form resolution that was given to us, so I apologize for that. But anyhow, this is for our CHIP program. Our current grant expires at the end of 2024, so this would be for the years 25 and 26. We did a request for qualifications. This firm was the only one that come back to higher regional development, so this would be for that, allow them to file a application for this on behalf of the city of Shelby for years 25 and 26.
Mr. Martin.
I'd like to, with unanimous consent, amend proper city official to read
the mayor as director of public service in all the applicable spots.
Okay, the motion is being made by unanimous consent to remove the language proper city official and replace that with our typical language mayor as director of public service in all the applicable places. Clearly understood the intent of the motion to amend by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Hearing no objections, it shall be done that way throughout the ordinance. Mr. Martin.
I assume PY means planning year?
Mr. Gates.
Program here.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts.
Yay.
Mr. Martin.
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin.
Yay.
Resolution number 20, 2024 passes.
Resolution number 21, 2024, donating of equipment and police cruiser to NC State Police Academy.
You said that,
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. McLaughlin for the passage of resolution number 21, 2024. Discussion? Mr. Martin.
My only thing is if we can make the next, fix the cruisier in the agenda for the next time. I appreciate the little je ne sais quoi that we're trying to achieve there, but I think cruiser will do just fine.
Merci beaucoup. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts. Mr. Martin.
Yeah.
Mr. McLaughlin.
Yay.
Resolution number 21, 2024 passes.
Resolution number 22, 2024, donating of equipment and police cruiser to the Rivers, to Tri-Rivers Criminal Justice Program.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin for the passage of resolution number 22, 2024. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts. Yay. Mr. Martin.
Yeah.
Mr. McLaughlin. Yay.
Resolution number 22, 2024 passes. Miscellaneous business. Mr. Martin.
As is my custom, the last council meeting in May, to remind everyone to have a very safe Memorial Day holiday, but also to reflect on what the holiday actually means. As veterans, Councilman McLaughlin and myself often get people who thank us for our service on that day, and I just kind of remind everyone that that's not about us. It's not about those who have served and come back. It's about those who have given the ultimate sacrifice for our country and given their last full measure of devotion for our country and deserve our gratitude. I know we have a lot of different activities on that day. We have a wonderful parade. I know the Legion, the VFW, and others are going to be putting flags out at the cemetery, so if you'd like to help out with that, we're more than welcome to that. But at the end of the day, we would not be able to do what we do. And we would not be able to live how we live. And we certainly wouldn't be able to prosper how we're able to prosper without those who have gone before us and given way more than we've ever been asked to give. And so just allow people to reflect on that. And to those who have immediate family, who are Gold Star family members, our hearts go out to them as they have also shared their family members with our country in unimaginable ways.
Thank you for that, Councilman Martin. And I will remind everyone that it'll be the 27th, our Memorial Day Parade. I believe it steps off at 10, and then there's a service that follows at Oakland Cemetery, and we invite all who can to join in. Usually have a pretty good crowd. Always nice to have a few more, but it's again a time of recognition. So thank you for that. Further business, Mr. Martin.
Mayor, the council adjourned.
Second.
motion by Mr. Martin and a second by Mr. McLaughlin for adjournment. Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts.
Yay.
Mr. Martin.
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin.
Yay.
Council adjourns at 8:11. Thank you, gentlemen. Good evening.